So on today's adventure, I'm going to be working on the Civic. I am going to be removing the whole front brake assembly. I'm going to be replacing it with some Civic EX ones. The DX comes with smaller brake rotors, and pads and everything. So don't quote me on this. This might be 300 millimeters. EX is 330, 320, something like that. And I'm also going to be installing some skunk 2 upper control arms. And in the future video, I'm not sure if I'll make a video, but most likely I will, depending if I record myself doing it or not. But I'm going to be replacing the rear drum brake setup. I'm going to be installing the whole rear control arm, and put disc brakes on it from a DC2. And got the e-brake cables already in here too. Also going to be installing some True Heart rear camber arms too, so that'll be in some other video. But for now, let's go ahead and work on the front. So first thing what I'm gonna do is remove the tires, and then after that, I'm gonna get to these, what they look like 14s, get to those and just loosen them up for a little bit, and then work my way that way. What I ended up doing already loosened up this 14 right here. And then I took out the one that's back here. It's right here. Took that one out. So there's 1 and 1 for the upper control arm for this one. And then I already loosened up this right here. Loosened up this one right here. And then loosened up this one right here. All I gotta do is take out, there's a 12 millimeter holding up the brake line. I'm gonna be replacing the brake lines with stainless steel brake lines. And then after that, just remove this 32 millimeter axle nuts, and this whole thing should come off. So yeah, let's get to it. So ran into some issues. Came back from AutoZone right now because I ended up losing the bolts that hold the brake caliper to the bracket. And for the DX models, this is the bolts that comes with. And my bolts that I have here are M8 by 125, and the bolts for those are M8 by 1.0. So the length is the 25 one, so you don't want anything smaller or bigger, because then it's just not gonna go in, and you might need washers if you go bigger, well, like in length. But yeah, all I'm waiting for is brake pads from Amazon, because I was gonna get them at AutoZone, but I wasn't gonna pay no $46 for some brake pads that are not gonna end up being used for like about a few months, like 3 months at most. So installing everything already, got the bolts there, everything, got my ARP studs installed, which those were from some other vehicle. So everything's pretty much done already. I'm just waiting for my brake pads. Got the stainless steel brake lights on, and I just gotta tighten everything back up, and we should be up and running. So I'm pretty much done. Oh, actually I'm not done. I gotta tighten up the control arms. So I'm not done yet. I gotta tighten up the control arm bolts. Pretty much everything is done there. Luckily I don't have my 13-inch wheels that came with the car, because they would have not fit the EX models, because the rotor and caliper is too big for them to even clear. So luckily I have my 15s, so that's gonna clear. So all the bolts are already tightened down. The ball joint, what's the other one, the
tie rod,
lower ball joint, and then the top
axle nut,
and the upper control arm fucking ball joint, and all that's left is just the ones that's hold those 2 14s holding on to the upper control arm, and we should be done there. But it's just one side for today, because I have to go to school at 6 o'clock. So yeah,
become a nurse.
And I'm doing this side now, so got all that. I had to fucking put the battery like that, make sure the positive is not touching anything. But as you can see, the DX versus the EX, how much bigger the rotor is. Yes, I will be replacing the rotor soon, but this is just for now. But even you can see the caliper bigger too, so should be fun. Let's get ahead and finally get everything installed, and I'll show you guys the finished product. After all said and done, they're all in there. Got my APR studs too. So everything's looking solid. Everything got tied down. All this got installed already, so both sides. And maybe next video is going to be the rear trading arms. Maybe not, I don't know, but that might be get done. But window trims got installed, so we're all good.